Salesforce Consulting and Admin Training Day 19. Let's see what are we going to learn today. So we'll quickly go through the previous session and we'll talk about the Web2Lead. What are the navigation steps to create a Web2Lead? And then we'll talk about WebtoCase and how to generate a WebtoCase HTML. And we'll have an assignment related to WebtoCase. And then we'll talk about the AutoResponseRules and lead AutoResponseRules, how to generate it. And then we'll have a questions, interview questions. Quickly, so what did we learn in last class?
Queue and queue members and queue supporting objects. Difference between public group and a queue.
Difference between sharing and transfer, owner update, queue supporting object, queue members, assignment rule, automated difference between public group and queue, types of assignment rules.
Yeah. So the last one, which we have created a queue. Whenever we create any lead. So for example, if I'm creating a lead. So if I'm creating any lead here, and while creating the lead, if I select this, then only the assignment rule will be assigned to this particular lead, and based on that it will check. So we have one of the condition which has, if city equal to Hyderabad, then it will assign the lead to the Hyderabad queue. So if I uncheck this, then the assignment rules does not work. So if I check this, then the assignment rules is going to work on it. And as soon as I click on save, lead is created and it is assigned to a queue, which is a Hyderabad sales queue. And similarly, if I modify this, so while modifying, click on edit. If I change this city from Hyderabad to Bangalore, if I change this to Bangalore, and also while editing, we need to check this, assign using active assignment rule. If you do not check this, then your queue owner, what are the lead owner is there, it's not going to update. So we have a condition, if city equal to Hyderabad, then go to the Hyderabad sales queue. If city equal to Bangalore, then it is assigned to the Hyderabad Bangalore sales queue. If it is a Mumbai sales queue. So click on save. So immediately it is updated to the Bangalore sales queue. But if I do not check that checkbox, for example, I'm changing back here. I'm changing back to the Hyderabad, right? So I'll not check this. If I do not check this, it won't update your queue. Whatever the lead owner is there, it will be same. It won't be updated. So always whenever we are creating a lead manually or when we are editing it, make sure if you have any assignment rules that are implemented as part of this, then it should be updated here. Like you need to check this. If you have any assignment rule, check this and then save it. So that what will happen, it will be updated. All the assignment rules will be get executed and it will be updated to the what are the record owner, the queue has to be there, it will be updated. So this is what we have seen in the last class. Now, this is manual creation. Now, this is whatever I'm doing it, manual creation. Now, we have an option where I can check this, uncheck this, based on this, the execution is going to happen. But how about if my leads are created from website? if my leads are created from website, how this is going to apply? Is my assignment rule is going to apply or not? Let's see that. So let's take a page. So let's assume that we have a audit. The scenario is we have a audit here, right? So if you open this page, and if you scroll down, you will see options for booking a test drive or a Audi approved plus or book online service. We have a different options here, right? Now, for example, I wanted to do the test drive. I wanted to go for a test drive. So when I wanted to go for a test drive, so it gave me a couple of options here. Now, which one do you wanted to go for a test drive? A 8L or Q7 or a Q5, which one do you wanted to go for it? So let's assume, let's select the Q5. So when I select it, this is the form. Here, the form which you are seeing it. So this form, title, right? Title, first name, last name, phone number, email ID, and dealership select, which dealership. And then after that, we have a couple of check boxes here and recapture is there. Then below that, we have a submit button. We have a submit button. Now this is how it is there. Now, whatever you see here, form, whatever you see here, the form, it is basically implemented by somebody. This form is at the back end, a developer has implemented this form and they have injected within this Audi test drive website. Whatever the Audi website is there, in that Audi website, somebody given this form and they have injected within this website. Now, how can we generate this form? Now, the same form, whatever I have it, right? By using the Salesforce, we can generate the same form and we can give it to the audit. So what happened here is a developer, Salesforce developer, there is a request, it came to the Salesforce developer. Can you implement? Assume that this is a lead. This is a lead. So the requirement from the client, it says that, can you implement a page which we can use that page and which we can place that page in the website, and whenever user is interested, they can fill this form and click on a submit button. As soon as they click on a submit button, capture the information that user has entered and transfer those data to the Salesforce. Transfer those data to the Salesforce so that the data will be sits into the Salesforce. Data means the data, what are the data is entered, everything it sits into the database. Now, once the lead is created in the Salesforce, based on the certain city or whatever is there, then the assignment rules will be get executed. Then the based on the assignment rule, if it is a form is submitted from Hyderabad, so then it goes to the Hyderabad queue. So once it goes to the Hyderabad queue, everybody gets an email from whoever is working from Hyderabad internal team, and they will look at this lead and they will start working on it. So this is entire process. Now, how to implement this form? Whatever you see here, how can we generate this form using the Salesforce? That is what we are going to see. Exactly the same one. Not only the Audi, if you go for different, like for example, we have a ICICI Bank. There is a ICICI Bank. In the ICICI Bank also, whenever you wanted to apply a credit card, so they have an option here. Now, if you go here, cards offer for you, credit card. So if you click on this credit card, so they will ask certain information like a first name, last name, or whatever the data you wanted to do. They will give you all these steps. And once it is done, then they are going to provide the information. So similar like we have a form. So here also we have a different forms. If you wanted to apply, you can apply it. And not only this, any government application, we have a government application to apply Aadhaar card, or if you wanted to submit a resume to the company, like MNC companies will have a certain format. If you log into the MNC company like a Wipro or TCS, Dell, they have a certain steps where you need to enter all this information, so that everything can be done using the Salesforce. Everything can be done using the Salesforce. So the concept is Web2Lead. Whatever we are discussed the scenario, that is a Web2Lead. Assume that there is a website. Here it is, I'm taking an XYZ company. You can assume what are the company you are aware of, Audi or anything. So let's assume that I have a website here, and we have a Salesforce server. We have a Salesforce server, and there is a database which is related to the Salesforce. This is a website which is available public. This website is available publicly because there is no credentials are required for this website. Anybody can log into this website. And at the back end, we have a Salesforce server and we have a database. Now on the website, on the database. So in the database, we have a different objects. Account, contact, opportunity objects are there. Similarly, we have a lead object. We have a lead object. So assume that the database is containing all the different objects, whatever exist in the Salesforce. And right now we are going to focus on the lead object. So this everything sits into the database.com. Now in website, whenever we open the website, we see certain options there. Home, about us, services, apply online, or apply test drive. So, right, those options you will see. So as soon as I click on this apply online, so there is a page will be redirected. A page will be redirected to enter certain information. Assume that they are asking to enter the first name, last name, email, phone number, type, city. So once I enter the information, click on a submit. So what will happen? There is a request that goes to the Salesforce server. The request that goes to the Salesforce server. And within the Salesforce server, we have a web service. We have a web service. This web service responsibility is whatever the requests that are coming outside of the Salesforce. What are the requests that are coming, the leads that are generated, which are outside of the Salesforce, take all those information, validate everything, and then pass it to the database.com. If it is a perfectly, that means when Salesforce server sends the request to the web servers verify the certain information. For example, validation rule. It verifies validation rules. Also system validation, custom validations, all the validations it is going to verify whether the user has entered the correct information, is the form submitted with the valid data, phone number is submitted with the proper format, or an email is submitted with the proper format or not. Everything it is going to verify. If it is says, web service says that, okay, everything is entered perfectly fine, then what it does, it is basically sends the information to the database.com. In the database.com, there is a record gets created here. The record gets created based on the whatever the user has entered in the website. The same information will be stored in the database.com. And once it is stored in the database.com, what will happen? The next step will be the assignment rule. We have assignment rule. So immediately it is going to cross verify there is an assignment rule. If there is any assignment rule on the lead object, it will check any of this assignment rule is qualifying this criteria. If it is qualifying it, what will happen? It will send the lead owner will be updated to the queue. Lead owner will be updated to queue. In our scenario, we have a Hyderabad queue. So it will be updated to the Hyderabad queue. Now, whoever is part of the Hyderabad queue, everybody will receive an email saying that there is a record created from so and so record is created and which is there in the Salesforce. Now everybody gets an email. Now one of the member will pick up that lead and start working on that lead. So this is the flow, how it happens for the Web2Lead. Now, how the assignment rules are getting fired. Now I'm not checking any checkbox. Ideally, when I create a lead in Salesforce, what happens if I need to check that. So I need to check a checkbox. So while creating this, I need to check this checkbox. But how the assignment rules are firing for the Web2Lead. So let's see that scenario. So let's close this. Now, we have understood the scenario how the Web2Lead works. Now let's jump into the Salesforce. Let's understand from the Salesforce point of view. Now from the Salesforce point of view, if I wanted to enable this web service, if I wanted to enable this flow, whatever this flow is there, if I wanted to set up this flow, what all do I need to do? Before that, how can I enable this web service within the Salesforce? So in order to enable this web service, we have an option called Web2Lead Enable. We have an option called Web2Lead Enable. By default, Salesforce will enable this option. By default, Salesforce will enable this option. If you want to uncheck, you can go ahead and uncheck, but by default, Salesforce offers enable this. So if you seen the scenario during the pandemic, everybody started online shopping or online grocery, right? So during that pandemic, it became became most famous. Everybody started using it. So that is where the place we need Web2Lead enabled. Web2Lead enable. Now, when can I uncheck it? Assume that now everybody started. Now, whenever we select this Web2Lead, let's take a grocery shop or grocery shop. So whenever the Web2Lead is available, now what we are doing is we are opening up the app and we are selecting all our whatever the items we want, we are selecting and they are delivering to the home. Now let's suppose they do not have a bandwidth of delivery members. There is an issue with the delivery members. So they wanted to stop. Whoever is enabled till now Web2Lead option, they wanted to stop all of a sudden because they don't want to use the delivery guys. Okay, if you want, you have to come to the grocery shop. So in that case, you can disable this Web2Lead. If I disable this Web2Lead, what will happen? If you disable this Web2Lead, whatever this page is there, this page still active. It doesn't mean that if I deactivate this page will go away. No, the page will not go away. If you deactivate it, page still exists. Page still exists, but you will not be able to capture any leads in Salesforce. They can submit it. They can click on a submit here, but there is no connection between the website to Salesforce. The connection has lost. The connection has lost. If you are submitting it, somewhere it is, the data is not stored anywhere. You just submitted. It is like a dummy page. You entered the information and you submitted the submit button. That is a dummy page, which does not have any connection to the Salesforce. If you disable it, page will be same as it is. There is no difference in the page. But when you click on the submit button, the request does not goes to the Salesforce. The request does not go to the Salesforce. Now, Web2Lead, why we use it? To capture the user's information and store that information as a new lead in Salesforce. We are capturing the user information and storing the information in Salesforce. Could be a lead or could be a case, because we can implement Web2Lead, we can implement Web2Case. So Salesforce lets you easily create a Web2Lead form that capture the information about the visitors on website. So it has a certain rules. Before creating a record, whenever we are submitting a lead, so before creating a record in Salesforce, basically Salesforce runs certain validations. It runs a validation rule, whether it is a system validation or a custom validation. If any of the values are not valid, then it will immediately, either it will throw an error, it will not create any record. So in order to throw an error, there is a third party is not required, but lead will not be created. Lead will not be created. Now the daily limit for the Web2Lead, like how many leads can I submit it in a day? In a day, in a sense, 24 hours. So in a day, how many leads can be submitted? The Salesforce limit is 500. Salesforce limit is 500. Let's assume that today I'm getting so many leads because of offer that is kept in the website or something else, right? So what happens if I get more than 500 leads? So if your organization exceeding the daily website limit, what will happen? If you are receiving a more than 500 leads, the Salesforce will store the information in a pending queue. Salesforce has something called pending queue, pending request. So what will it will do? It will take what after this 500, whatever is coming up, it will take those information and it will put it into the pending queue. Now, next day morning, whenever it starts, it will continue the whatever the pending queues are there, it will take from that as well as the next day, whatever the limit is there. So like this, how many records can Salesforce hold in the pending queue? There is a 50,000, which is a combination of Web2Lead and Web2Case, which is a combination of Web2Lead and Web2Case. Both they can store, I mean, they can keep it in the queue or they can keep it in the pending request queue, maximum 50,000. If this is also exceeds, then you have to raise a ticket to the Salesforce support by raising this concern. So they will ask certain questions based on the agreement or based on the discussion. They might increase it or they might do some other thing. So daily limit for the Web2Lead or a Web2Case, both, it is a 500. Both of them, it is a 500, not Web2Lead and Web2Case. And Salesforce does not support the rich text area. We have a certain rich text area in Salesforce. So while creating the Web2Lead form, if you are generating a Web2Lead form, whenever you are creating a Web2Lead form or whenever you are generating a Web2Lead form, if you are including any field which is a rich text area, Salesforce does not accept it. In case if you have taken that, it will consider it as a plain text and the lead will be created as a plain text. Any questions so far? Okay, so let's move on. So the navigation steps to create a Web2Lead, click on a setup and then search for a Web2Lead. Now click on Web2Lead link and then you have to go to the Web2Lead settings section and then you can edit it. And okay, so till this point, now click on a setup, search for an option Web2Lead in the quick find box and click on the Web2Lead link. Now let's go to the Salesforce. Click on setup. So search for Web2Lead. And whenever the Web2Lead, you click on that, this is the page that gets open. So Web2Lead setup. What is this? Using the pre-existing page on your company's website, you can capture contact and profile information from user and automatically generates a new lead in salesforce.com, enabling you to respond in real-time customer request. Now here, this is your website, this is your company website, and here we are asking the first name, last name, email, and then clicking on submit. Once it is submitted, the leads gets created in Salesforce. The leads get created in Salesforce. Now, once you click on that, so you need to click on a edit button. You have a edit button. And then from the edit button, you can unselect the checkbox Web2Lead enable. So we have an option here, Web2Lead enable. Now, if you click on edit in Web2Lead setting, we have an option called Web2Lead enable and disable. If you do not want a Web2Lead enabled in your org, you can disable it. Otherwise, you can enable. So by enabling it, you will receive an online leads. And second option is a captcha, a reCAPTCHA verification. So this is basically, we use this in order to reduce the spam. If there are any spam emails or anything. So to reduce a spam, require reCAPTCHA verification for customer's request. For customer request. When enabled, request without verification do not generate the lead. So if you enable this, first it will do the verification. Then only it will generate the leads. So after enabling, confirm that your HTML includes the reCAPTCHA information. So this is one place. There is another place we have a reCAPTCHA information. So when you select this, it is also telling us to make sure that there is another place you need to check whether it is included the reCAPTCHA or not. If there is not included, then you need not to select this. And the third option is the user who will be listed as a creator when the lead is created online. So what does that mean? So basically, whenever I'm creating a lead, if I'm creating a lead, okay, if it is not, assignment rule is not fired, okay. So in that case, who is the lead owner? It is coming, my name, it is displaying, DEC batch. It is displaying the person, whoever is the logged in person is there, that person name it is displaying. That means manually whoever is creating the lead, that person name is displayed here. Now, whenever the Web2Lead is created, whenever the lead is created from the website, whose name should be coming here in case if the assignment rule is not qualified. In case if the assignment rule is not qualified, whose name should be displayed here. So that is, we can decide it here. Default lead creator. Default lead creator is nothing but whenever the lead is created, the default name, the default user or the default owner who should be there. So you can specify that person name. And next here, use lead auto response rule to select the different email responses template based on the attribute that lead submitted online. Leads not matching any of the rules will be sent to the default response template. So this is basically email template which you wanted to do the auto response. So if you select this, there is an email template which is going to show here. We have not discussed the email template. Email template is nothing but whenever you create a org, whenever you create a developer addition, you receive an email, right? So how that email is coming? Because whenever the org is created there, they are sending auto response email saying that your org is created so and so. So that is a default response template. So you can select this. For now, I'm not selecting it. So that is a Web2Lead setting. So you can select, unselect the checkbox Web2Lead enable, and then click on a save. So this is what we have seen, Web2Lead setup, and this is the setting. Clicking on the edit button, we can modify any of this. If I wanted to uncheck, I can uncheck. Recapture, if you wanted to verify this before creating the lead, you can check this. When you check this, there is another place which you need to cross verify. We are going to discuss that. Default lead creator, who should be the default lead owner if assignment rule is not fired. Default response template is, what is the default response that this should receive it? Now, in order to create a Web2Lead, in order to implement a Web2Lead, there are 4 steps. We need to do the 4 steps in order to enable the Web2Lead. So step 1 is enable the Web2Lead feature inside the organization. How can we enable the Web2Lead feature? By selecting this option, Web2Lead enable, which we have already done it. Step 2, generate the Web2Lead HTML form. That means I need to build a form. I need to build a form, the form that we have seen in the Audi page. The form that we have seen in the Audi page. We need to generate the Web2Lead HTML form with the required fields. What are the fields that I wanted to show on the form, and which is used to capture the lead person details. So does that mean, do I need to implement a HTML? Do I need to write a HTML code in order to implement a form? Or do I need to write a Visual Force code in order to implement it? No, you do not need to write any of the coding. Not required any coding. Salesforce by default, it is going to give you the coding. Salesforce by default, it will give you the code of the HTML. So you need to just take that and you need to add 4 lines of code on top of it. So Salesforce is going to generate a code for us, and that code we have to take on top of it. We need to add 4 lines. Now, how to do that? How to generate a HTML form? So go to the Web2Lead settings section. So which is this one, Web2Lead Web2Lead settings, and then click on a Web2Lead HTML generator button. Click on this, create a Web2Lead form. Create a Web2Lead form. Now, so you will see this option. When you click on a Web2Lead, you will see this page. Now, here, the first section, whatever the first section is there, the available fields, that is basically a fields which you wanted to place it on the form. Select the required field to be visible in the form by using the add remove. Whatever the fields that you wanted to display on the form, you can select from the available fields and push it to the selected fields. If you wanted to remove it, you can select it and then you can remove it. Or else you can arrange the fields, which one should be displayed field first, which one should be displayed later, by clicking on this up and down. So for that, you need to select a field first, then click on it up, so that you can arrange the sequence of the field in the form. Now the next one is a return URL. Return URL is nothing but once the user click on a submit button on the form, once user click on the submit button on the form, where it should be redirected. where it should be redirected. For example, if I click on the submit button on the Audi page, right? So what it will do, it will be redirected to the home page of the Audi. It will be redirected to the Audi home page. So similarly, in my form, what are the form that I'm going to implement? What are the form that we are going to implement it? Once the user click on his submit button, where it should be redirected. So the redirect should be written in the return URL. If you say www.salesforce.com, so it will be redirected to the salesforce.com page. Now, the next one, which I was talking about the reCAPTCHA, one more place is, this is the place. So unselect this for now, because we do not need a reCAPTCHA. In the real time, if client says that, okay, we want reCAPTCHA to be enabled, then only enable it. Without a client permission, do not enable this. So if client says that, yes, we want a reCAPTCHA, then enable it. And then we have a last button, which is called as a generate. When you click on this generate button, what will happen? It is going to generate it is going to create a HTML document with the generated code. It will give, Salesforce is going to give you the HTML code. So once you click on a generate button, Salesforce is going to give you the HTML code. It is going to generate a HTML code and it will give you that HTML code. So what you need to do with that code is basically copy that code, open Notepad. In the Notepad, just write HTML and closure of HTML. In between the HTML, just write the body, open body and the close body. And between the body, just paste that HTML generator. Paste that HTML. What are the Salesforce has generated that? So what you need to do is additionally 4 lines you need to write it. One is open the Notepad and just write the HTML. And here it is a closer HTML. And then body and the closer body. Within this body, you need to paste that HTML generator. You need to paste the HTML generator. Once you place the HTML generator, now go ahead and save the record. Go ahead and save the, whatever the file is there, save the file with the extension of .html. With the extension of .html, or you can just say HTML. Instead of HTML, you can just say HTML also. So .html also works. Either you can say .html or you can say .htm. So both will be working. So once you save it in the desktop. Where should you save it? Because you will be opening the Notepad. In the Notepad, you will be writing the open HTML, close HTML. Within the HTML, you will be writing the body, open body and close body. And within the body, just mention the whatever HTML code is there that is generated by the Salesforce. Just paste that code here and save the file, save this Notepad with the .html or .htm. Both will work. Now, once it is saved into the desktop, step 3. Step 2 is the one which is a little longer, but step 1, step 3, step 4 are easier one. Step 1, you need to enable the WebtoLead. You need to enable the WebtoLead. How can you enable it? By clicking on the edit button, WebtoLead setting. And then second one is click on this create WebtoLead form. Now the HTML code will be generated. Copy that and save that file into the desktop by adding the extension .html or a HTML. And the step 3 is place that HTML form inside the organization website. Now here, who will be placing that HTML form inside the organization? Inside the, what are the organization website is there? Now we have a website. This website is company website. This website is company website. This is an Audi website. Salesforce developer does not have access to the Audi website. Salesforce developers will have access to the Salesforce org. They can do anything within the Salesforce. Salesforce developer, Salesforce admin, Salesforce architect, whoever is working in Salesforce, they can do anything in Salesforce. They have a full access control, everything is there. But company website is not in our control. That is with company. So in every company, there will be a team called web designer. In every company, there will be a team called web designer, or there is some team will be there. Specifically, there is a team who are focused on this page. In Audi company, there will be a team. Assume that there will be a team who will be maintaining the page. What needs to be displayed on clicking on this button, what needs to be displayed, how many cars should be displayed, everything they can handle it. So that is a web design team or some team. Let's take a team. Let's call it as a team. So they will take care of everything. Now, once we have implemented the form, now I have done generating the Web2Lead form. Once it is generated, the Web2Lead form. Now, developer has to give the URL. There will be a URL, or we can give the file. Whatever the file is there, the file we can give it to this team. Whatever the team is there, so we have to send that file to the team saying that we have created a page, HTML page. So please use that HTML page and place it onto your website. So we need to have a communication with that team and clearly explain. Now, this team will take that HTML file. What they will do is they will apply some kind of a CSS style, because we are giving a plain HTML. We are giving a plain HTML to this team. But Audi has a certain theme, logo, layout, something will be there, right? So they need to apply those CSS on top of this HTML. So they will apply all those CSS to this HTML. Now they can show the same page onto website. Now, whenever they click on a submit button, now that can be captured in the Salesforce. So the third step is placing the HTML form inside the organization website maintained by the web designer. Every company will have a web designer. Step 4, accessing the Web2Lead form from the company website. Step 4 is basically testing. Now you need to test it by opening the website and click on a submit button. Then you should verify the lead is created in the Salesforce or not. You need to verify the lead is created or not. So these are the step 4. Now let's go ahead and see. Now practical. So let's cancel. Now the first step 1 is enable the Web2Lead. Yes, it is enabled. I'll click on a create Web2Lead form. Now first name, last name, email, company, city, state, right? This is fine, but if you want any other information, you can take that information. For example, phone. I wanted to display the phone before the email. So you can select that and I can arrange the fields. Now, first name, last name, phone number, email, company, city, state. Now, these are the fields that I'm selecting. These are the fields that I wanted to display on the website. Now, return URL. I want the return URL to be www.salesforce.com. So once the user is submitted, so here it is. After the user submit the Web2Lead form, they will be taken to the specified return URL on your website, such as a thank you page. In case if you want a thank you page, you can implement that thank you page and you can place it here. So similar, like once I have submitted the test drive, so there will be a form which will be reloaded saying that thank you for submitting the test drive. Right. So similarly, if I wanted to redirect back to this page. Now CAPTCHA, I'm unselecting this. Now click on it, generate. I'm clicking on generate button here. So when I click on a generate, what will happen? Salesforce has created the code. Salesforce has created this HTML code. Salesforce has created the HTML code. So copy this code, Control A, Control C, copy this code. Now, in step 2, we have to open the notepad. So first I need to write 4 lines of code, HTML, closer HTML. And within this, I need to write a body, open, body and closer. Now, this is the 4 lines of code. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to paste that. I'm going to paste that. I'm just copied from there and I'm pasting that information here. Now, till this point, any questions? Okay, so I have pasted that, whatever is copied. Now, what I'll do is I'll save. I'll save this file. So let's take web2, let's say WebLead.html. So I'm storing as WebLead.html. Let me store it into the okay. I'm storing here. Now let's click on it, save. Perfect. As soon as I changed it, the entire format has been changed. The entire format has changed. Now, what are the fields that we have selected? What are the fields that we have selected in the Salesforce? See, it is automatically generated. First name, last name, phone, email, company, city, state. And then we have a submit button. It generated this and it added the maximum length, size, what is the type. Type is by default text. Type is by default text. In the HTML, it is always text. Now this is, it is generated. Now what I can do is I can open that. Now I can open classes, consulting admin, and then here WebLead. Now I can open this. Now, once the page is open, now you see here, first name, last name, phone number, email, company, city, state, submit. Salesforce does not put a styling. Salesforce does not apply a styling. It will just generate the HTML code. It will just generate the HTML code. Now, this page, we will give it to the website. Now it is up to the website. Why Salesforce is not applying here styling, border, certain format, the length and everything? Because every organization has their own format of displaying the fields and displaying the color and displaying the theme layout. So everybody has their own. So that's the reason we give this page to the website, web designer, and they will make a changes on top of it. Now it is up to the company which CSS they wanted to apply. If it is a Audi, then they will apply a black and other color. If it is ICICI Bank, they will apply a yellow color. So it is up to the company which color, theme, layout should be there, everything they will take care of it. Now they will put a format of displaying everything, how many columns to display these fields, everything they will take care of it. Now this page is created here. Now this page is created. Now assume that this page is already placed into the website. This page is already placed into the website. Now what I'll do is I'll create a first name. I'll create a lead here. Now, right now it is taken from my local system, but assume that we have already placed it. Whether it is a local system or a website, both are same. Because if I submit a local system, from the local system, it should have a connection to the Salesforce because we have a WebtoLead enabled. So it should be capturing the information. Now let me enter some data here. So let's take Radha and let's take Krishna and then phone number, some phone number I'm taking it, and then email. I'll take some Scar IT company, Wipro, and the city I'll take a Hyderabad and state Telangana, and let me click on submit. Now, once I click on a submit, what should happen once I click on a submit? Salesforce, this website, whatever the website is there, this website should send a request to the Salesforce.
Lead.
It should send a request to the Salesforce. In the Salesforce, we have webs. What we have here?
WebtoLead.
Web service, which is a WebtoLead. So it will receive the information and then it stores the information into the database, and then we are going to receive the response. Now, let's see. Let me submit this page. Let's click on submit. As soon as the submit is done, it is redirecting to the www.salesforce.com. This is the page, it is redirected. Now, if you place any other URL also, that should be all fine. If you want a Google or if you want any other URL, anything, you can place it here. Now, let's go to the Salesforce. Let's click on a lead. In the lead, we have one of the list view is called today's lead. We have today's lead. Now, if you see here, the Radha Krishna, which is created today. Radha Krishna, which is created today. And whatever is not viewed by anybody, right? If it is not viewed. So you see here, unread by you, owner. That means if it is a checked, means it is not reviewed by anybody. Owner has not reviewed it. Unread by owner. That means it is not yet reviewed by anybody. Now, if you see here, Radha Krishna, the one which is created, as soon as the lead is generated in the Salesforce, what it does, it is assignment rules are fired here. Assignment rules are fired. One of the assignment rule is if the city equal to Hyderabad, then push that lead owner to the Hyderabad sales queue. So which is automatically fired. So that means for the WebtoLead, Salesforce is automatically taking care of firing the assignment rule. It is only problem with manual creation of the lead. It is only problem with manual creation of lead. For the WebtoLead, automatically Salesforce is going to fire that. So from the back end, Salesforce is going to check that checkbox assignment rule to be fired. Now assignment rules are fired, whatever the data I have entered there. So everything is displaying here. Any questions? Okay. Now the question is, I have a 10 org. I have a 10 orgs are, I have around 10 orgs are there, 10 Salesforce orgs, which I'm working on. So this is one of the org, Samskar IT, one of the org. Now I have a different, other than this, I have a 9 Salesforce orgs are there. Now, whenever I submit the form, how it is identifying that it should go to this org, not for any of the 9 org. So I have a different orgs are there, CDCA1, CDCA2, and then some skywriting 1, and then different orgs I have it. But how the system is identifying that it should go to only this particular org. How it is identifying it?
Based on the URL.
Sorry?
My domain we have.
URL based on the URL.
So basically, whenever the Salesforce generates a HTML, we have two hidden fields. We have two hidden fields. These hidden fields are, one of them is a org ID. One of them is org ID. So whatever this org ID is there, whatever this org ID is there, it is going to, before placing the lead, before generating the lead in the org, first it will try to identify which org do I need to go. So it will cross verify which org. So within the server, we have a different instances. So in the instance, it is going to verify the org ID. So based on the matching of this org ID. So whatever here I have it. So first it will identify the org. Then what it will do, it will, based on that, it is going to place there. Now here, server.web2lead. That means this is also one of the key for Salesforce. What needs, which object, what I need to do. Now I found the org. Now what do I need to do? And what is the method? Do I need to get it or do I need to post it? So it is basically, post is nothing but create the information. Whatever the data is coming there, just create the information in Salesforce. So form is going to decide what needs to be done, and the hidden fields is decided where to go. So one of the hidden field is where to go, and once it is completed, once the user has submitted, where it should be redirected. Where it should be redirected. Now the same all details, if I see that company information, my network is slow. So, okay, so we know that company information we have. In the company information, we have the org ID details. So if you go to the company information, there is a one field called organization ID. So that organization ID should match with OID in the HTML. And don't change anything apart from adding the HTML body. If you change any keywords here, if you change this OID to capital OID, return your URL to redirect, if you change anything, what will happen? You will not see any leads. Now, in case if you wanted to debug, you have a certain fields here for the debugging purpose also.
Swapna, Is it possible to create multiple orgs in dev and in dev edition, developer edition?
Multiple orgs or within this org multiple.
No, now
You
this
can
is one
create
of the org.
multiple. You can create multiple by logging into the developer edition.
Uh-huh. Is it possible for you to show me how it's done? Maybe after the session.
So normally, if you go to the developer creating a org, you can create it. So there is a option to create it, right? Did I not explain that?
I mean, by default, it just creates one org, right? So, like, if I want to create another one, how do I
Same
do
thing
that?
you need to follow that.
Same follow. Okay,
Yeah.
I will try later. Yeah, we won't divert from the topic. I'll check later.
Yeah, basically whatever you did the steps, the same steps you have to do it in order to create the another org. So that means you need to go to the developer.salesforce.com and enter the details and click on a sign up. So
Okay.
that it will
Okay.
be another org will be created.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So the organization ID here, this ID should match with whatever the Web2Lead ID is there. It should match this. So this is KQUMG. So that is the same one which is matching. Now, any questions on the Web2Lead? This is the exactly flow in the real time also. Only one step which we have not done is a third step. Third step is where we are discussing with the organization website. We have a separate team and we have to discuss with that team and place the form into their website. So that is only the part missing, but rest all is everything. This is how we do it in the real time also. Any questions before I move on? This is important and easy one also.
Whenever, hi Swapna, whenever form filling, it's convert to data in server, maybe.
Yes. So what are the form is filled? So basically there is an active listener in the Salesforce. It will always listen to the multiple places. Now, can I submit a form from the multiple website using the same form? Yes, you can submit it. I need same form. I wanted to use it in the Audi. Same form. I wanted to use it in the Toyota. Same form. I wanted to use it into the Skoda. Right. Okay. So you can use it. Multiple ways you can capture it. So there is always some event which is running in the Salesforce, which is always hears from the outside.
Okay.
Now we have another option, WebtoCase. WebtoCase is also almost similar to the Web2Lead. Whatever we have done the steps, Web2Lead, WebtoCase also same thing. So Web2Case is nothing but basically if somebody raise a ticket, let's take an example of Salesforce support. So whenever we raise a ticket in the Salesforce support, we want a case to be created in the Salesforce. The case record should be created in the Salesforce. Similarly, the one which we have seen the lead, whenever there is a form is filled, the data has to be pushed to the Salesforce lead object. Similarly, whenever there is a case is raised by the customer, as soon as the case is submitted by the customer, the record has to be created in the case object. If you want this scenario, case object scenario, then we have to use a WebtoCase. So this is basically to capture the cases from the company's website. So quick find, search for it, WebtoCase, enable the WebtoCase checkbox. Now in lead, we have a Web2Lead and generating the HTML, both are in same page. Both are in same page. So if I search WebtoLead, I can see here, I can edit it, I can generate the form. I can generate the HTML. Whereas WebtoCase, if you go to the WebtoCase, Salesforce has given two options for the WebtoCase. One is a WebtoCase enable, and the second one is a HTML generator. Whereas for the WebtoLead, both are combined and it is given into the one place. And in the WebtoCase, it is divided. Those parts are divided here. So if you go to the WebtoCase, this is just for enabling the case. You need not to do anything here. This is just enabling the case. So WebtoCase, when you click on it, it is going to the WebtoCase settings. Use a simple web form or a self-service customer community to make it easy for customer to submit a case directly to your customer support group. So for detailed information on setting the WebtoCase or a self-service community template, see the Salesforce help. So you can go to the help page. Now basic settings is, if you wanted to disable the WebtoCase, you can disable it. That means if you do not want to hear the cases that are generated, that are submitted by the Salesforce, that are submitted by the end user, I do not want those cases to be created in the Salesforce. If you want that option, just uncheck it. If you want to capture all the records, then it has to be enable WebtoCase has to be checked. Then reCAPTCHA, the one which I explained, this is basically for the avoiding the spam. And for now, I'm not enabling that. Default case origin. So default case origin is nothing but from where are you receiving the cases? And whenever you receive a cases from either phone, website, or email, or anywhere from you are receiving it, by default, I wanted to place the case origin as a web. We have a different options here. By default, whether it is coming from the phone, whether it is coming from email, whether it is coming from website, doesn't matter. By default, case origin. Case origin is a field in the case origin is a field in the case object. So if I go to the service, so if I go to the case object, and if I open the case record, so we have a case origin. Right, this is the field which is a mandatory. So it has a pick list field, phone, email, web. Now, if you want by default, I wanted to say that default it is a web, because I know that most of my cases are coming from website. Basically, client is going to tell you that what is the default case origin. If they know that they are receiving the cases, most of them from the website, then they will tell us to put the option website. If they say email, just place it the email. Now, auto response email setting. This is basically default response template. Now, once it is a case is created, once the case is created, I wanted to send an email. Now you can select a template. We have not discussed the email template. So it is basically an email which is going out. Now, next one is a hide record information. If you want to hide record information, if you want to hide a record information in the notification email. So basically, you are submitting the case on behalf of maybe your kid, okay? And you have given an email to, you have given an email in the case of your kid's email you have given. So in that case, if I say to the client Now I do not want to receive anything. If the clients are seeing these kind of scenarios very frequently, saying that I want to receive an email, but hide the information. Whatever the data that I have given, just hide it. Do not show by default. So if the clients are seeing this kind of a request from the customers, what they will tell developer is just hide those information whenever we are sending the details. So developer will come here, just check that information. And then if you want any specific signature, you can add the signature here. That is a WebtoCase setting. So WebtoCase, this is just to enable the WebtoCase checkbox. And next one, we have a WebtoCase HTML generator. For WebtoCase, if you want to generate a HTML, then you need to go to the option called WebtoCase HTML generator. You cannot do it in the WebtoCase. You have to go to WebtoCase HTML generator. Then you need to click on it, generate the HTML code. So these are the two options whenever you search a WebtoCase. If you click on the second one, then you will be able to generate it. So if I click on this HTML generator, now I can select what are the fields that I wanted and what is the redirected URL. And reCAPTCHA, if you want it, you can do it and click on it, generate. What will happen? It is going to generate a form. Now you might be having a question that the form is I have already generated it. The form I already generated. Now client gave me new fields that they wanted to add here. Let's say that they wanted to add a status, they wanted to add a type. So how can I do that? You can regenerate, no problem. As long as if you want any changes, you can regenerate it. If you regenerate it, again, it will be regenerated. Again, it will be regenerated with the options. Now, if you take this, Control A, so for the pick list, what it does is, for the pick list, it is going to add the tag which we have already worked on it. Let me copy this. So it is going to add the list. Okay, so it is going to add the select list. So these are the options it is going to give us. So for status, it is automatically taking what is the pick list values are there. For type, it is taking automatically what are the types are there. And let me save this. And if I click on this page, now it is going to give me the case details. Now it is up to the web designer how they wanted to place these fields. But we have given what are the options that are there in the Salesforce, which we have given. Now, if I click on a submit, there will be a case will be generated in the Salesforce. So basic settings in the WebtoCase is basic settings and auto response email settings. So whenever you click on a WebtoCase, you will see these two options, basic settings and auto response email. And when you click on a HTML generator, you will see these fields. And if you click on generator, generate, it is going to generate the page, the HTML page, it is going to generate it. Now, WebtoCase, I'll not be doing it. I'm giving the assignment for the WebtoCase. It is similar to whatever we have done it for the WebtoLead. It's almost same. You need not to do anything. So configure a WebtoCase. That means enable the WebtoCase option, which is ideally it should be already enabled by the Salesforce. Generate WebtoCase HTML. That means you need to select the fields. What are the fields you wanted to take it? Just take the fields, which are the fields that you wanted to do it. So first step is just enable the WebtoCase. So this is already there. So click on cancel. Now click on the HTML generator. And then when you click on a HTML generator, select some of the fields here, which are related to the cases which you wanted, and select the mandatory fields also. What are the mandatory fields are there? Like case origin is a mandatory. So in case in your org, if you are using the some org which is related to trial head, you might be seeing the some other fields are mandatory. So what are the mandatory fields are there? Just select all the fields here. And then along with that, if you want to select any, select it and give here the URL salesforce.com, uncheck the reCAPTCHA. Right now it is not needed for you, but in real time, if client wants it, you can check that. And once you generate the HTML, what you do is place that HTML into this page. What are the, by adding HTML body within that, just place that code and save it as a extension .html and save that into the local system. Double click on it so that it will open the form. So similar like this form, it will be open. So then click on the submit the case. Enter all the information, click on it, submit case. So once you submit it, if everything is validated perfectly fine, then what it does, once it is submitted, it should redirect it to the salesforce.com. Now in the Salesforce, a case should be created in Salesforce. So in Salesforce, you can check, you can go to the cases and we have a list view, which is called today's list view or my open cases. If it is not there, just create a today's. So how to create a today's one? If you want to create a new list view, if you want to create a new list view, how can you create it?
Click on the gear button,
Gear button, yes.
then list view, new.
New list view.
We can apply some filter logic.
So let's take today's cases. And what are these options here?
It's like access who can see based on org.
Right. So once it is created, let's click on all users from my side. So what I'll do is I'll click on
Save.
save. Now this
We
is
can-
today's cases, but here everything is displayed because I need to modify the filter. Let's modify it. All cases, click on done and the add filter. I need to add the filter here, created. Created date, date time opened equals to what I can give is I can give today. So what are the today's one is there? It is going to show that today's record. So for me, there is nothing is there. For you, it should be displayed one record here. Any question till now? Web2Lead, Web2Case.
Swapna, just out of curiosity, I'm asking, when we generated the form, we need to submit to the client's web development team, right?
Yes.
So they will integrate this code, and they will open the form. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
Thanks. But is it yellow? It is having org details, everything is there, right? So they might have seen org details, everything, right?
They will hide everything. That is the web designer part.
Mhm.
So they will not show it to the end user. Now, if I am opening the audit, it does not tell me that the form is created by Salesforce.
No. I mean, like our clients will know, right? Like this is the org ID, something like that.
Org is created by them only.
Okay. So,
We have not created the org. So whenever we get a new project, the new project is, whenever we get it, the org is created by the clients itself. So they should be knowing the org details.
Okay. Thanks, Swapna.
Swapna,
Yeah.
I was working for one of the company, it's a financial institute. There they used to run marketing campaigns, okay, and it's to collect the leads. So in that we used to place the forms like this, what you created just now, lead forms, okay. And they used to create, segregate, what is that? They used to do lead assignment based on the lead source. They used to have the lead source as a hidden element, and based on the lead source, they used to do the lead assignment, okay. And then there was something called, I didn't know Salesforce that time, but I heard them saying, then after this, they used to do skill-based routing, So is that something we are going to cover, or is what it is?
Screen
I
based.
didn't.
Can you
Skill-based
repeat?
routing.
Screen-
Skill-based routing. Skill, SKILL, based routing.
Skill based routing. Okay. That option we do not have here. I don't know that.
Okay. Well, I just heard them saying. I don't know much about it. Okay.
Because this is complete flow of the Web2Lead, how it should happen. Any other questions?
Ma'am, where is the thank you page? Once you will submit that details, next page will be, we can get the thank you page. Thank you.
So
for
what you
submitting.
have to do is, for thank you page, you need to implement a Visualforce page. Okay, once you implement a Visualforce page, there will be a URL that gets generated for the Visualforce page, right? So you need to give that URL in the returned URL.
That will be copy paste in the HTML.
Yeah,
right,
you
ma'am?
can just, what are the Visualforce page URL is there, you just paste it here. So it will be redirected to that page.
Ma'am, it is I think it is main URL to redirect to the Salesforce. Then why it is thank you page?
Sorry?
It is redirected to the our organization website, right, ma'am? www.salesforce.com.
No, if you mention here salesforce.com, then only it will be redirected to the salesforce.com. Otherwise, it will not redirect it to the salesforce.com. If you give here audi.com, okay, www.audi.com. So what will happen as soon as I submit it, it will be redirected to the audi.com.
Okay, ma'am, that will be redirected to the audi.com, but not in thank you page.
So if you give here thank you URL, that will be redirected to thank you URL. So basically you need to implement a Visualforce page here. So once the Visualforce page is implemented, you need to place that Visualforce page into the URL. So for example, I have here, so if I open this, if I open any of the Visualforce page, there is a URL that I can get it from here. Now, if I click on a preview, so this URL is there, right? So this URL, if I place it here, so what will happen in the, let's take an example of Audi itself. So when I go to the Audi, when I go to the Audi here, and if I do the test drive, if I click on a book test drive, and if I select a car, so right now what will happen is, now this page is there, right? This page. So this page will go away. As soon as I click on submit, this page will go away. Instead of this page, it will just show another page called thank you. From where that thank you will be coming? From my org, from the Visualforce page, we are giving a thank you page here. It will not redirect complete URL. It won't be redirected complete URL. They will just replace the existing, whatever this form is there. Once I click on a submit, this form will go away, and the next form, whatever the thank you form is there, it will display the thank you form here itself. It won't be redirected the complete page in the website.
Before we have to we need to create that thank you page.
Yes,
by
you
using
need to
visual
create
post.
a thank you page in the visual
Okay.
post page and give that page here.
Yeah, ma'am. Got it. Ma'am, can we add the CSS styles, ma'am, for that HTML?
What is that? See?
CSS styles, ma'am, like styles it, how that fields will be showing like different.
You can add a CSS here, but do not change anything into these names. CSS, it is up to you. You can add it. So that's what web designer is going to do. So if you want to add here, you can add the CSS. That is totally fine.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions? Okay. Now, once the case should be, so the case should be created in the Salesforce. As soon as the case is created, implement assignment rule. So first implement the assignment rule. So what it should do, assignment rule should check the priority. If the priority equal to high, then it should go to the tier 1 service queue. If priority equal to medium, it should go to the tier 2 service. And if it is the priority is low, then it should go to the tier 3 service queue. So this assignment should rule fire and the case owner should be either of this. If it is not, this rule is not meeting the criteria, then it should go to the by default, whatever the user is there. So you need to implement an assignment rule and as well as WebtoCase both. What are the assignment rule is there? This was I already given into the assignment rule. Assignment. So when we were discussing the assignment rule, so that time I have given this. But if you have not implemented, implement this and then try for WebtoCase. Now, the next one is a auto response rules. Now, whenever the lead is created or whenever they are submitting the form, we want to send another email. The formal email saying that the email is received so and so, it will be in the queue. We wanted to send certain responses based on the rule criteria. We wanted to send certain responses based on the rule criteria. So auto response is basically automatically it is going to fire for the WebtoLead and WebtoCase. Just a second. So auto response is automatically fired to for WebtoLead or WebtoCase. So basically auto response is which determines which email template to be sent to the user whenever the lead or case is generated through the WebtoLead or WebtoCase. Whenever a lead is generated through the WebtoLead or whenever the case is generated through the WebtoCase, what kind of a email, which email we need to send it, that we can determine into the auto response rules. Now, auto response rules are automatically send email response to lead or case submission based on the record entered by the user. So if it is successfully placed into the Salesforce, then only these rules are fired. That means this is after save. After save, that means after saving the record in the database.com, then these rules are going to fire. Now, auto response rules are divided into the two types. One is a lead auto response rule and second one is a case auto response rule. So if you search for an auto response, you will get lead auto response rule and case auto response rule. So for the lead, go to the setup, lead auto response rule. You will see this. So let's go there. Now, if you are searching auto response rule, so one is a lead and then case. So if I go to the lead auto response rules, so you will see this page starting automatically determines which email template to use when sending the auto response message to the new leads from your website. Now, if you click on a new, it will ask a rule name. It will ask a rule name. Let's suppose I'll say that lead Hyderabad, or let's take a lead city rule and click on active. I'm activating it. So once it is created, just open the rule name. Then you can see similar to whatever we have a assignment rules. We have a rule entries in the assignment rules also. So similar to the assignment rule, we have a auto response rules. So in the auto response rules, once you create the lead Web2Lead auto response rule, it is going to ask rule entry. So at least one entry should be there here. So if you click on a new, it is going to ask the sorting order similar to the assignment rule. So sort order, select here one, and criteria, just check it. Or if you wanted to, formula evaluates true. That means by default, if it is hitting it, by default, I want to make it true. Otherwise, no, I wanted to have a condition here. So lead city equals to Hyderabad. Whenever this is Hyderabad, now I wanted step 3 is specify the name and address include in the auto response message from line. So whatever I'm doing the steps here is almost similar to the assignment rules. We did it in the assignment rules, the sort order, and the step 2 is select the criteria for this rule entry, and step 3 is auto response message from the line. Now you can specify here name. Whatever the name you specify, it will appear as the name in the what are the message that we are sending it on that, it is going to appear that name. And the email address, this email address has to be either it has to be one of your user email ID. That means you have a users. So the email ID should be either one of your user email ID. One of your user email ID. So either of this email ID, you can give it. So let me take here. Let me edit. Let me add the email. Now click on save. I'm modifying the list view so that I can see the emails. Okay, so I can take any of these emails, right? So it has to be either of your user, whatever the user is there, the user email, or there is something called organization-wide email address. There is something called organization-wide email address. That means anything that is happening from this organization, anything that is going out from this organization, if I want to specify some common emails here, if I wanted to use some common emails, then what I can do is I can create a one email address here. I can create a one common email address. So that means organization-wide address is nothing but an org-wide email address allows each user in user profile to send email using this address. Anything that we are sending any email from this organization, by default, if I wanted to use this email as a common, I want all the messages should be going out from this email. Then what I can do, I can create one organization-wide email address for the user selection and a default no reply use. Okay. So click on add. If you click on add, then what will happen? It is going to ask you certain details, the email address. So the display email address, you can give anything here. So let's take my org, then I'll take some SCAR IT. And user selection, the purpose of it, user selection, default no reply address, or user selection and default no reply address. Basically, what is the purpose of it? So you wanted to by default use this as a no reply address. So let's select it, or you can select it as a user selection. Now, if you say here, user selection means now you select it here, which one you wanted. Do you want all the profiles to be profiles to use, or you want a by default selected some of them here, just select it, or if you want default no reply address, that means everybody by default should be up there, or the user selection is also same. So I'm selecting the third one, click on a save. As soon as you create a save button, there is a verification email that goes out to this user. There is a verification email that goes out to this user. Verification request sent. Verification request sent to this email address. Now this is valid only once it is approved, once the verification is done. Once the verification is done, from that moment you can use it. Now this is the one, the verification email address. We have received the following request to add the Salesforce organization-wide email address. New organization-wide email address is samskarit@gmail.com. Click link to confirm this organization-wide email address. Now it has to be done within 72 hours. After 72 hours, it will expire. Now this is the same step we will be doing in the real time also. In the real time, we will not give our own email ID there. We will not give here our own email ID. Even our company email ID, we will not give. We will give client email ID. Whatever the client email is there, we will give the client email ID, so that whenever there is any action they are sending an email out. Okay. By default, they wanted to use this organization ID. So here I'll click on this. So email changed, continue. Now login. Now let's see that. Let's go back. Let's refresh. See here, verified. The status has been changed to verified. Before it was verification pending. Before it was verification pending. Now, as soon as I see that, it is saying that verified. Who should be using this? All profiles. All profiles. Now, any questions here? Yes, somebody has a question. Any questions?
Swapna,
Yeah.
when we say auto response, it means that okay, now what is this? Suppose a lead has been created from the web. Okay, and I've created an auto response with some criteria. For all the leads that are being generated from the web, I need to get a response, and I have given the email of my email. Okay,
Right.
so I should be getting the email, right, after
Yes.
every lead has been created.
Yes.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so for that to receive the email, do I need to verify my email, or do I need to edit somewhere? Then only it will be activated. I can't give my email, any email like that.
As per the company's policy, as per the real time, whenever we are sending any email to the customers, we should not expose our email IDs.
Yeah. No, I'm saying like for now, for the testing purpose, I want to see if this
Yeah, you can
works.
give your email ID.
I tried, it's not working, that's why. So do I need to verify my email with something or something like that? I did not receive an email back when I created a lead.
Okay, so sometimes it might be delayed.
Mhm.
So right now we have created here the org-wide email address. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same one, which we have an organization-wide email address. I'll take DEC batch. And let's take some email template. So I'll take randomly, I'll pick it up something. New customer email. So the criteria, let me give here, just placing it true. Okay. So in the real time, it will be proper because we will be checking everything. So right now I'm just giving the true, click on save. No. Auto response is created, perfectly fine. Now we have changed our Web2Lead form. This is changed. So what I'll do is I'll do Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Yes, this is ours, first name, last name, email, phone number, company. Let's click on a save. Now let me submit a form. Let's refresh. Let's take the form. So let's take phone number, some phone number here. Any email?
CDC was.
Okay, just a second. Okay, Wipro. Telangana, let's click on submit. So it is redirected to this. Let's go and cross verify in Salesforce. Today's lead. Okay, let's click on sales. See, I have received an email. Welcome to GenWord community. So just a 0 minutes ago, just now we have received it. This is the template that I have chosen it. So whatever the template you choose it, you will get that email. So this is the email about the company, Wipro company we have added. Right, this is how you will receive an email whenever we do the lead auto response. Now, if I go to the lead, so let's click on the leads. Today's lead. So whenever you are creating the auto response, so make sure better take the org-wide email address. So whenever you are doing this, make sure you are using the org-wide emails because that is the verified email address. So in real time also, we use the same thing. So this is the one which is created and the assignment rules are fired and it is owner is updated to the Hyderabad sales queue. So that's all about the auto response. Now case, you will be creating it. So assignment is create org-wide email address. Verify the email. And then create case auto response. Select any template. You will be having a template by default. You need not to create anything. You can by selecting them. So whenever you are creating the case auto response. So for now, what you will do is create the new one. So assume that click on is set new. Give the rule name as case rule and activate it. And let's keep it. Activate it, then click on a new, click on this rule name and then click on a rule entry and enter the create rule entry with order equal to 1. And the step 2, select the formula evaluate to true. And then just type true there. And finally, the third step is enter name, enter org-wide email address. Then choose existing email template. Now, next is create a case on website. Then submit it. Once it is submitted, so couple of things here, the case should be created. Case should be created in Salesforce. Second, assignment rule should fire. Third, case auto response rule should fire. And fourth, email, what are the email you will mention on that? So user should receive an email. So this is the assignment. So the conclusion, what did we learn so far?
Web to lead,
Lead,
web
how
to case,
generate a form.
write the notepad like whatever the HTML tag and the code, and generate. We have to save the file.
Right.
Then after it's reflect to the lead.
Mhm.
Auto response rules, lead auto response rule.
WebtoCase.
And then all-wide email address.
Then archived email address. Then whenever it's request sent to the organization IDs, then once viewed, it's
Assignment rule and receives an email.
Yes. So what is web to lead?
On clicking on web application, lead should enter into the leads.
data. It's
If you enable to lead, then only Salesforce can do lead contacts.
Okay. What is web to case? What is web to case?
The generation
Information and store information.
If you
well
want to capture the case details from the site,
As in UK.
process.
then we are going to configure web to case.
As in UK.
So how to send auto response user after creating a lead case?
Enabling auto response.
Enabling auto response in setup. Lead auto.
Auto response.
Lead auto response.
Lead. Providing the organization email address and template.
Yes. So what is the daily limit for web to lead or web to case?
500.
500.
What happens if it is exceed 500?
That will be stored in
Pending request.
pending.
we
Pending
have to
request.
pending request.
50,000.
Raise the request.
50,000
Yeah,
of pending request will be available.
Right. So what is auto response rules?
Automatically filed for web to lead or web to case.
Will assign to the particular user automatically.
Right. So these are the trial heads. So along with the data security and community, we have a web to lead in Salesforce. So I'm pasting this. This has the other information is also, but try to understand that. That's all for today.